I do corporate trainings, so nasa learning and development ako. But I work with corporations, so I train their managers, their supervisors, specifically on leadership and management. I've always enjoyed learning, especially learning the soft skills, obviously on leadership. And, I discovered that leadership is not easy. While people say, yeah, be a leader. But being a leader is one of the hardest skills to learn, because leaders have to deal with people. And so when I went on that journey of, learning how to make myself a better leader, a better manager, as I was rising through my profession, in my career, talagang, oh my gosh, cannot imagine the mistakes that I made. Having people resign because of me was like, oh my gosh, that's how bad it was. And as I started to learn more, I discovered it wasn't only about making people do the tasks. It was always about building the relationships. It was always about encouraging them. It sounded so easy, but it was so hard to learn. And even up to today, I've been training for, never mind how long. So I've been training for a long time. I still make mistakes. I still fail in some of the leadership relationships that I have to work all over again because I failed. So the journey is a never-ending journey, and my signature course is called that. It's called the Leadership Development Journey, because it's a never-ending journey, because the people that we work with are different each time. Well, I started with training, and I started with sales training. So that was the path that I was taking. And then when I became a licensed facilitator for Dale Carnegie Training, and I took the license for their leadership training for managers, and it felt really good. And then it felt even better when the people who graduated from the Dale course, years 1, 2, 3 years later, would call me up or send me messages and say, Connie, yung plano ko, ganito, it happened. Oy, Connie, yung panaginip, yung my plan, my vision, or I got promoted. And that really made me feel that, hey, I can make an impact. Besides the fact that I enjoy it, which is the great part, it's such a joy to really talk about it. My challenges as a woman were because of, I think there still is some degree of a glass ceiling for women, especially when I was in corporate, when I was employed. Like, the women were able to reach only a certain level. Not because we were not competent, but because, when you get into that, there's the inner circle in corporations, and there's the not so inner circle, but still inner enough. So hanggang dun lang kami, di ba? We were only up to the not so inner. Because, we can't join the men's club as they go out drinking, as they go out, doing all sorts of things men do. And that's why I think that there's going to be that glass ceiling. I know that there are a lot of industries, and in fact, I know a lot of women who became corporate presidents or general managers, and that's great. And a lot of people actually say, the women who rise to those positions have to be witches, and you can change the other letter. But, the women that I know who got into those positions were really, really very good leaders, very effective, and very nice and warm people. Okay, I believe in women empowerment. I also believe that we are one of the few lucky countries where there is some degree of empowerment for women. Women can hold government positions, women can hold key corporate positions, they can lead companies, organizations. It may not be as empowered as we would like. Also because when you go to the less educated brackets of society, that's where there's no empowerment, because we have the macho culture existing. The thing to get to women empowerment, it has to start with education. It's building the women, making them believe that they're more than just, you know, cooks, sweepers, housekeepers. You know, even when they're married, that's all they are. Their roles, they see them, I have to clean the house, I have to cook for my husband and my family, I have to take care of the kids. And they can realize that with education, it's like, yeah, I can do those things, but that does not define who I am. And so you see that lack of empowerment at the really less educated levels. And that's the sad part, because when they have female daughters, or they have female children, it's gonna happen again. But there's also the nurturing. For women to be empowered, they have to learn certain leadership skills. Like, primarily, there must be a big degree of self-confidence so that they can assert themselves, not be aggressive, just assertive. And that self-confidence comes from the way they are brought up. It comes from the self-concept. It's believing that, yeah, I am good enough, I can do things, without having to brag about it. By the way, those are leadership skills. And you develop those things. And then, of course, there's always communication. It's one of the most, communication is a life skill. You know, let's start first with the premise that I love what I do. And when you love what you do, you don't feel it's a job. So every time you do it, it fuels you, it fuels your passion, it energizes you, it rejuvenates. So when you have that, then there is no fear of burnout because you're enjoying what you're doing. You know, work-life balance is a myth. Because people think that, I have to balance exactly, equal time for this, equal time for that. And when we do that, we're in the realm of living the mediocre life. Have a little of this, a little of that, a little of this. Take a look at those times in your life when you had great moments. Those were the times when you were living your life in the extremes, whether it was work or even your personal life, the extremes. And so when you are in the extreme, for example, in your personal life, you're living your life in the extreme. I'm traveling with my friends, I'm enjoying. Obviously, the work is suffering or the work's on hold. So there's a lot, you're at the extreme here and this one is on the low side. Now I come back, suddenly I have to focus more on work and things are happening at work. So now I'm on the extreme as far as work is concerned and my personal life is on the low side. So that's why there's no such thing as work-life balance where everything is equal. There is work-life counterbalance. So it's not about, giving them equal time. It's about, when I'm done, I will be able to do magic on both sides. And those are the fulfilling moments. When you have those, like I say, that's when the magic happens. One is for them to get educated. And when I say educated, I don't just mean the academe. Whatever industry they're in, they have to be really good at it. When they're challenged intellectually by other people, learn to communicate and learn to be able to express their thoughts. The advice also is that, there will be times where women, especially women rising, may not feel as confident. And especially with gaslighting also happening now. But it's really about, if they really believe that they can do it, then they go for it. Because the worst thing that will happen is they don't try.